So what was your initial goal weight?
My initial goal weight was 130 pounds, which was over the year that I lost the weight, I came to realize that that was very unrealistic. Um, when I got married, I was 114 pounds. I'm 5'7", and I was quite underweight at the time. And they kept telling me, no, 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 that's too low. But I started out at 265 pounds, and I now hover just below 140.
Wow.
So,
Congratulations.
well, thank you. And I've kept it off for 7 years now, I think it is.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's the first time I've ever um, had it. I guess it's not a weight loss as much as being conscious of what I eat and how much, and portion control. I mean, that's the important thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was skinny as a child. My mom and the doctor were giving me supplements to put on weight. So I grew up thinking if it wasn't nailed down, I was supposed to eat it. Not allowed to, just allowed to, but I was supposed to eat it,
Yeah.
Eat, finish your meal. And so that was the mindset I had. And that backfires as an adulthood because there's a lot of stuff that isn't nailed down.
Yeah.
And I love to eat. I tried Weight Watchers a couple times. I don't know. It's not the program. I wasn't ready. And I think one of the things that helped was I was working for YOLO Hospice, and one of the nurses and one of the techs had lost a considerable amount of weight on the Hearn Reed diet. And it seemed, from what they said, it seemed like something that was interesting and something that I could try. I had been on a program when we lived in Alaska and lost 65 pounds and then passed out just before Thanksgiving, and they kind of threw me off the program and with no support afterwards. And I found all those 65 pounds and a lot of their friends too afterwards. That's another plus with the Hearn Reed program, is that there's all that support afterwards. So in 2013, I started a diet. My husband needed to lose some weight too, and he took off 50 pounds. He didn't need to take off as much as I did, and kept most of it off for the rest of his life. He died this June.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But he had serious cardiac problems. And in 2006, he had emergency 6-way bypass. And there was a lot of emphasis on sodium and what he ate and portion control. And that kind of fit in with the Hearn Reed stuff too, portion control and keeping track. So I had already become accustomed to reading labels and being careful. And that just and reinforced that. He wasn't supposed to have more than 700 milligrams of sodium per meal 3 times a day. And I don't know if you've ever paid attention to sodium, but next time you're in a restaurant, look at the nutrition label and you'll see that there's like some of those meals, there's 3,000 milligrams of sodium just in the entree,
Yep. So. That's how they make it taste so delicious. Here,
oh,
let me just add a bunch of sodium and stuff that doesn't say sugar, but we all know is sugar. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, and he has quite a sweet tooth. Let me just hang up on that. Probably a political ad.
It's so many of them right now.
Yes. So taking the weight off is the easy part. After the first week or two, it's just, there's no decisions to make. You just open your packet and stir it up. That was the easy part. And the first couple of weeks, going back to food, I thought, well, wow, I'm going to have to work hard to eat enough again. Unfortunately, that honeymoon didn't last. But we, both of us, and I think it was it was two things. For me, it was my husband and wanting to keep him healthy. And the doctor kept saying, "You're doing a fantastic job. Do whatever she says," meaning Louise, meaning Louise. Um, Weighing ourselves every morning and figuring out, at Christmas time, cookies are my downfall. So at Christmas time, we would scale back a week or two beforehand a little bit, and I allowed myself to eat whatever I wanted on Christmas Day, and then right back on it again and do more exercise. And that worked for me. That doesn't work for some people.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Did you find that that was a benefit when you were working with Louise, your behaviorist, is instead of, no, you have to do it this particular way, it was, she would kind of help you adjust to whatever it is that is going to work for you, whatever system is going to work well for you.
she tried. She's good, and she tried.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 72. I'm used to doing things my way, But the other thing that was motivating was the fact that as the weight came off, about every 15 pounds, we would go to the Goodwill and buy everything new from the skin out, and then we would have to take it back and get new stuff because we'd have lost more weight. And so if I was to put on a considerable amount of weight now, I would have to buy all new clothes, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it before the pandemic, it was fun to get up in the morning and every once in a while look at myself in the mirror and say, "You don't look too bad for 72." It was fun to dress in nice clothes. Before that, it was just, what could I find that would fit over my bulk? But now I can select things that I want. It was fun to be able to get out and learn how to do things like play pickleball with my husband, go for walks, go for bike rides. And we had 6 years in retirement of being able to travel and do things while he was still able to do them. And that was quite a blessing. The meetings afterwards, the Compass meetings, there are weeks when I think, I don't really want to go in there. I've heard all this before. But there's an affirmation, and there's accountability, and I may be 72, but I'm really only 6. I need that accountability. But I found it successful for me. Most years they have invited Jack and me to come in and talk to the people in the weight loss program to encourage them and answer their questions. And one of the things that I would stress is that I am really a fat person inside, so I understand how all fat people must feel. I want to take the weight off. What we really want is to be able to eat whatever we want and not gain weight. I mean, world peace, okay, that's nice, but what we really want is to be, and an awful lot of people lose the weight and then go right back to cheeseburgers and milkshakes and French fries and all that.
That sounds really good right now.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
It sure sounds really good.
I occasionally dream about pizza. And there are days when I realize I have been hungry, but I haven't been, it's not physical hunger. It's, I just miss some things that were in my life, but they're not worth going through all of that misery of being overweight. One of the experiences I had when I was really overweight was a trip that we had in Germany. My husband was a software engineer in his second career, 20 years in the Air Force, and then he worked as a software engineer, and he was working in Munich The company would fly him home about every 2 or 3 weeks, and every once in a while they would fly me over to join him wherever he was. And at that particular time, it was in Munich. And we went off to see the castle. It's Neuschwanstein. I think that's how you say it. It looks like a fairy castle up at the top of a steep hill.
I was there a couple of years ago. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Yep.
We went in a bus. I noticed that we were the only Americans in the group. We were the only fat people in the group. Europeans eat a lot, but they exercise a lot more than we do. And they dropped us off at the bottom of a hill. And it was embarrassing to be panting so heavily as I walked up the hill and be the last one. It was embarrassing to go up the spiral stairs inside the towers in the castle and to realize that other people were having to wait for this obese person. Nobody said anything. Nobody gave me a dirty look, but I knew that this was something that I did to myself. Another thing that we fat people do is that we go to a party and we will use the excuse, well, there was cake, I had to eat it. No, you didn't. Nobody put a gun to your head and said, eat this or I'm going to shoot you. We make that decision ourselves. And I finally, at that age, stop and think, how old was I? 2013. Finally mature enough to realize this is something I can do, and this is something I need to do, and this is something I want to do. And for me, it's been very good.
Good. Thank you for sharing that.